Alright, this time we've got Pub Battles Marengo. The Marengo map is huge. For instance, here's the Antietam map. So we're dealing with a much larger area. Now to begin with, I put some graphic aids out here. These dice are actually showing the three crossings of the initial crossings of the river, plus this crossing up here, the Monte Castello crossing. Also with this map, very historically accurate, and as such was not necessarily easy to play on, especially for someone with eyes as old as mine. I went along with a blue pencil and marked in the rivers. Just made the map a little easier to read for my purposes. For a lot of people, the map is sacrosanct and you don't touch it. I can appreciate that, but that's what I did. Now, I've also created what I call the detachment rule, which is really useful in solo play, where one of the primary uses ordinarily in a two-player game with detachments is kind of a fog of war, because you don't know if this is a whole other core or if they're just detachments. Obviously in solo play, I'm going to know where I put the detachments. What I allowed them to do is I'll use them just like detachments. So when a command is activated, I can take the detachment and place on it, saying, well, he's sending a detachment over here, and once it's on the board, it's on the board. That's it, and it acts like a detachment ordinarily does. But it also means I don't start with them. I don't have to start with them on the map. I can, but I don't have to. The Austrian initial beginning of the battle was a surprise, unexpected. So you play a turn 0 where only the Austrians move. Here we have my turn marker. There's 8 turns. I use an 8-sided die. Now this is a single day battle. Both sides are running out of time. The Austrians must reach either of these exit points to guarantee their supply. The French must deny them. Turn 0, the Austrians move. O'Reilly's command, basically the light infantry, Austrian light infantry, is coming up here on the north. This is north, on the northern route. This is actually a crossing here. It wasn't always clear on the map. The official ruling is that's a crossing. So they're going to take that crossing. General Melas is coming up the center. Now you can back units up, especially when you're starting out, as deep as you want. But if the first 2 units, which are the only ones involved in combat, have to retreat, then they push everything back and it all becomes spent. So you don't ordinarily want to do this, but in the beginning, this is kind of what you got to do. These here are the forward cavalry elements. The other cavalry have come in behind. And over here, Ott is bringing up this flank. Alright, the Austrians have come out. The French have fallen back in the center. Sort of. They've run a counterattack here. The Austrian cavalry has outstretched the supporting infantry, and I believe they're going to pay for that. In the north, the French cavalry, and the size 1 division that's on the board, under the command of Napoleon, are moving to engage with the light troops. Alright, in the center, the Kaiser Dragoons have simply run away. Turn 2. There is no combat in turn 2, and when I say that, I mean there's no actual rolling combat where a unit could possibly be reduced. There was probably all sorts of implied combat going on. There's a reason the Austrians only got this far and the French were able to back up this far. There was all sorts of shooting going on, but nothing decisive. The French have been falling back, looking to gain the high ground. This they've done. Turn 3. Alright, the French have had to solidify their line. They can't keep falling back. Be some action in the center here with the Kaiser Dragoons charging the remnants of Chambard Harc's division. Desai's lone division under Napoleon's command is defending here and holding. The French cavalry is not attacking the Austrian cavalry. They probably win. There's too much going on. They want to remain floating and able to respond. Watrin of Lannes' division has been doing a fallback, fighting retreat. Now they're to the hills. Now they're going to try to hold. The Austrian artillery is lumbering forward. Soon the Emperor's artillery is right here, and they're going to start opening up soon as well. If this collapses, then the Consular Guard will probably be called in to help out. They're still falling back, so they don't want to deploy bags and rally. because it's a good way to lose their bags and lose the battle. This is a close run affair. Murat's last cavalry division arrived this turn. Alright, combat. We see that the grenadiers have pushed back the French in the center, though they themselves are become spent in so doing. They've taken that ridge. Desai's lone division over here was destroyed by the expert Austrian Grenzers, the light infantry. Can the French hold? Where are they going to hold at? I think we're going to see some bags unpacked in turn 4. Turn 4. Well, here you can see the French have continued their fighting withdrawal, slowing the Austrians up. Turn 5. Alright, on turn 5 we've seen that Desai's corps is coming on. At the same time, Lannes and Victor have orchestrated a counterattack. We'll see if that's effective or not. Their divisions are spent after fighting all day. The Imperial artillery opened up, drove back Parvekheim's division. O'Reilly's bags are running away, but here comes Murat's cavalry marauding around. The Austrians are attempting to anchor their northern flank with their light troops in the town of Loli. We'll see how well that works. Alright, after combat you see that the Austrians are in complete disarray here in the south, just as Desai's corps is arriving fresh. Turn 6. Turn 6 combat. Okay, the Austrians really need to get something going here. So they're pushing hard in the center, but the French are pushing back a little bit too. We'll see how this goes. Turn 6. Here in the south you see the French have taken quite a beating and had to fall back somewhat. The Austrians have made some costly ground in the center. The Archduke's cavalry has fallen off. And over here Murat's cavalry are starting to work the way around. Alright, end of turn 6. We see that in the south here, the Austrians are giving ground, but in the center, they've actually pushed the French back somewhat. Napoleon did not want to risk the Consular Guard, so as soon as they ran into resistance, they backed off. Now in the north, Murat's cavalry is coming around, trying to get at the Austrian bags. The Grenzers are holding the village of Loli, but the Jagers have fallen back to protect the bags. Turn 7. Alright, here you see Kellerman's cavalry attacking the Liechtensteiners, the last Austrian cavalry on the board. This could be a change, a big change. Here the Consular Guard and the Imperial artillery is firing on the Austrians attacking in the center. Desai's corps has outflanked the Austrians there, and Melas' command is being contained. We'll see how all that works out. Turn 7 combat has been heavy, but inconclusive. Just lots of spent units. No breakthrough on either side. Turn 8. Here we are. End of turn 8. Last chit draw, I moved the dragoons. They were able to race out from inside the woods here and contact the Austrian baggage. Last moment, the Austrian line has been cracked. So that was a game that went right up to the end, right up to the last moment. Now if Desai were right in the middle of the combat, because that's the kind of guy he was, what would have happened there? The French have one hit, so, as a treat. The Austrians got 2 hits. One hit reduces them to spent, the other hit forces them to retreat. They cannot retreat, therefore they are destroyed. Desai probably would have passed as well in this battle, just like he did in history. So today, the game ends with a French victory at the very, very end of the day. Now a French victory is actually tough, which it should be. There's a reason it was considered an amazing victory by Napoleon. Well, mostly it was because he got to Paris first and got to write the story, and of course it was amazing.